Hey folks, what's up and welcome back. Deathwing Enhanced Edition released some weeks ago and, to make it fast, it still is a mixed bag. Yes, it's better than before, performance improved a lot and it still is a beautiful game. Also, the interface works a lot better now, but the flaws remain. There's still not a lot of replayability and the campaign was only improved slightly. The new upgrade system feels bolted on and is just a means to extend playtime. The gene stealers are still rather dumb and not a bit convincingly scary. You just die if there are too many of them. On top of that, the melee combat system wasn't improved either, so just hit that attack button if something comes close to you and you'll mostly be okay. But I'm not here to ramble about the game's faults. There are lots of reviews out there on YouTube who do just that for hours. I'd rather think about how to do a better Space Hulk game without being completely out of touch with reality. Number 1. Core gameplay. What's the core of Space Hulk gameplay? Dark, winding corridors and gothic architecture? That's style, not gameplay. I'd say the core principle of Space Hulk is survival. You should always feel threatened like you do in the tabletop game. Even a single gene stealer can rip apart a Terminator in no time, and this should be reflected in the video game too. It was in previous releases, like Space Hulk 1 and 2 back in the 90s. If a gene stealer came into melee range, you were probably dead. So surviving a melee fight with a gene stealer should feel like a second chance to live and to fight on. Not like ordering a cheeseburger with Coke and fries like it does in Deathwing right now. Which brings me to number 2. Tactical and strategic decisions. With a chance of dying real fast if something comes within arm's reach, there need to be lots of options to prevent just that. So the game shouldn't be only about shooting things but controlling the environment. More emphasis needs to be put on sealing doors, breaching new passageways, and why don't we have a placeable autocannon for area denial? The heavy flamer could be used to scare large bunches of enemies away. Nests need to be purgeable, so the player's squad has a chance to gain partial map control at some point of the mission. This would lead to strategic decisions, like deciding whether to purge some nests first or to rush the objective and get out of the area as quickly as possible. Ranged weaponry needs to be strong and there needs to be a clear effect on the gene stealers once they get hit. The impact of a bolter should drive them back into the pack, slow them down and leave them vulnerable for more unwieldy weapons like an autocannon. Based on that comes number 3, a dynamic campaign. To further reinforce the survival aspect, a dynamic campaign is needed. Things do not have to be completely dynamic, but some randomized elements should be doable. First of all, threat levels could be implemented. The higher the difficulty, the faster the threat level will rise. Gameplay-wise, it would look like this. The mission starts with a low threat level. With each enemy shot and each relic retrieved, for example, the threat level rises as you draw more attention of the swarm. Purging nests lowers the threat level. The incentive to retrieve relics and complete secondary objectives while facing a high threat level would be a currency you need to acquire better equipment between each mission. Let's call it glory points. You need them to reinforce your squad and to buy better equipment. There's an old gem of a game called Incubation from 1997 which shows how this is done right. Within the main campaign also need to be side missions, where you can stack up on extra glory or get one of your best Terminators utterly slaughtered and lose his relic assault cannon in the process, if you don't manage to pick it up and carry it to safety. Aside from threat levels, dynamic encounters are needed. Maybe a Broodlord lurks in one of the bigger hallways. Killing him will lower the threat level for a certain amount of time. Or you come back to an area from a previous mission and some kind of chaos creature emerged from the warp and set up camp in an abandoned chapel aboard the Hulk. Which brings me to number 4, permadeath. Let there be an option to permanently lose Terminators during the campaign. They will be replaced between missions but lose their equipment and perks. If a Terminator dies, there's a slight chance his equipment will be retrieved if you didn't or couldn't pick it up. Afterwards, you may launch an optional salvage mission, which means you return to your last mission's map to retrieve lost equipment. Maybe other scavengers are roaming there already, like a Chaos Terminator squad, which also searches for relics or technology about the Hulk. This squad also could randomly appear in other missions to make your life even more miserable, preferably on very high threat levels. Or they are just there on their own behalf and you can run into them accidentally at any time. Then there's number 5, meaningful abilities. Your Terminator's abilities should have a noticeable impact on the situation. The Psyker, for example, could get an ability to conceal the squad for some time to momentarily lower the threat level. The longer he keeps this shield up, the higher the chance some vile warp creature gets lured in to investigate. Let the tactical marine hack doors, turrets, and activate seemingly dead machinery to seal off or open parts of the map. Maybe there's a nest within an old foundry, restart it to disrupt the flow of incoming enemies and gain some room to breathe. A chaplain might reinforce the squad's will to fight and give them the edge in close combat for a limited amount of time. In short, every ability should be tailored towards increasing survivability, so every time an ability is used you feel like you cheated death another time. And lastly, there's number 6. Retreating from a mission. Where there's permadeath, there should be plenty of opportunities to avoid a total loss. Thus, retreating from a mission after some objectives were achieved should be an option. Maybe the threat level got too high or you need to evacuate your best Terminator who is close to death or even unconscious. So the Psyker warps you out or you go back to the insertion point. This gives the possibility to go back to your base camp, lick your wounds and come back with a better plan, enhanced equipment or both. Oh, and number 7. Add mod support. I think I don't need to explain why. So, these were my thoughts on how to create a good Space Hulk game. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video in any way, then feel free to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching and see you on the next Magnets and Miracles.